welcome back to The Writer's Dream, a show by writers for writers. Our program is all about the author's journey, where we talk about the writing process, what inspires authors, what motivates them, as well as the business side of publishing, how to find an agent, how to self-publish a book, and marketing, how to get the word out there that your book is published and how to get people to buy. Today we have Linda Maria Frank, who is actually a return guest. Linda was on our very first show, and we've invited her back to talk more about her self-publishing experience and also to talk about how she's actively marketing her books right now. Linda is the author of the Annie Tillery Mysteries series. She's already published the first 2 books in the series, The Madonna Ghost and also Girl with Pencil Drawing. Linda, it's so nice to have you back.
Well, it's wonderful to be back. I enjoyed the first show and hope to take you on a journey with me. I've published and I'm marketing, and it's been an incredible journey, sometimes funny, sometimes not so funny. Before we get started, though, I would like to make mention of the fact that my website will scroll across the bottom of the screen every so often, and if the listeners, or I should say the viewers, would like to, they can go to my website, click on my blog, and if they want to make comments or ask questions about information that I will talk about on the show, I'd be happy to answer their questions.
Excellent.
So are you ready?
I am ready. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Okay. I guess the first place to start is your series is self-published.
Yes.
How did you find out about self-publishing?
I wrote the books. Seems to be such a familiar story with authors. I wrote the books years ago, and then I proceeded to look into traditional publishing. When I first wrote the books, there was Vanity Press, but Vanity Press is just like a catch-all term for any kind of self-publishing.
Right.
But the self-publishing industry had really not exploded. So I put them aside, and then I belonged to a book club, and one of my colleagues in the book club published a book, so I was, fascinated to find out how she did it.
Self-published?
Well, I didn't know.
Oh, okay.
So I asked her, and she said she self-published, and I said, oh, but that's Vanity Press, and she said, well, you can look into it. It's not really just that they take your book and publish anything. It's really an industry now. The woman that I spoke to has health issues, and so do I. I'm a cancer survivor. I'm very happy to be a cancer survivor, but I think in terms of whatever it is that I'm going to do, I'm going to do. So this became part of my bucket list. And I decided time is of the essence, and I looked into the self-publishing process, and I went online and proceeded from there.
What was the process like?
Okay, the process was very easy to start with. I went online, I used iUniverse. They had several packages that they offered, and all of the packages were different in respect to how much marketing they gave you. They all published the book for you. You'd get a published product at the end, but some of them gave you more in terms of marketing, things like websites and whatnot. So you would go online and look at the packages, and then you would have to call a sales representative. And I called a sales representative, and of course everyone's very, very pleasant and really very helpful. I was in the world of something I didn't really know anything about, and this was a great learning experience. So I talked to the salesman, and I decided, because I didn't know anything about marketing, that I would take some of the marketing options. And I signed up. Of course, you do this all online. It's all credit card. It's all electronic. And the other problem for me, of course, is that at the time, I didn't even like to use my cell phone. I could use a computer because my background is in education, and you pretty much have to use a computer in education. And I was trained to use a computer, but never really loved it. So, but I had to learn to love it. And the next thing that they do is they give you a project number, and they send you an enormous amount of material. You get a contract, which explains things like, do you own the book or not? You're able to download manuals on how to upload your manuscript on the website, what format to put it in, typing instructions. I mean, there's just an enormous amount of material, and you are pretty much, they hold your hand all the way through. So that's how I started with it.
Now, what made you choose iUniverse as opposed to the other self-publishing companies that were out there?
Because I felt that my friend was successful with them.
Okay.
She published the book, and she actually was a runner-up in an award. She won an award. And I thought, well, then the book has to be in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
So, and I just felt so out of my element that I thought, you know, this is a company, and I know about it, and somebody's recommended it to me, and so let me go with it. I didn't comparison shop. This was just 2 years ago, and in the last 2 years alone, the self-publishing industry has just
It's
exploded.
exploded.
And even traditional publishers now have a division that'll help you to self-publish. So I didn't know about, in fact, I don't think it existed when I started this. I didn't know about Pubit and Amazon PDK, which
Right.
are websites that you can go on and upload your manuscript and your book title, and they put it in electronic format, and
Right.
it goes on Amazon.com and BarnesandNobles.com for free.
Right.
And Google Books does the same thing. That did not exist then.
Right.
So self-publishing is really becoming a force. And I have to say that there were actually, I'm going to give you 2 quotes that that illustrate I would say, the controversy in the publishing field. One of them is that most people who self-publish sell less than 100 books. Okay? The other one is that 7% of the books published by traditional publishers comprise 87% of the revenue collected.
That is
by
true. That's the blockbuster sellers, the John Grishams and the Patricia Cornwells of the world.
That's right.
Yeah.
So those two statistics, plus the fact that a woman by the name of Jane Friedman, who does webinars for Writer's Digest, she said, self-publishing will not kill your chances at traditional publishing. So you're looking at the controversy that exists in the publishing field. I don't think the publishing field knows what they want to do yet either.
I think you're right. I think it keeps changing, because I think maybe at one point in self-publishing's history, it may have killed your chances for a traditional publishing deal. But now not so much, no.
I was told when I first wrote these books by the mentor in the writing program that I took not to self-publish,
Right.
that it would kill my chances.
Right.
So, of course, I stayed away from it. But then things happened in my life, and I just decided time was of the essence, and I wished to get the books out. So that's why I chose that.
But also things have changed. I mean, so many self-published authors now are being picked up by the traditional houses. I mean, it's a trend that's only growing.
Well, you know, that was my thought. I thought it's logical that if I were working for a publishing company, rather than sit there and read through manuscript after manuscript after manuscript, wouldn't I want to look on the catalog of the self-publishing companies to see what was successful there,
Right.
and see if I liked those manuscripts, and then contact those people? Because my first question to the iUniverse people was, do I own my book?
Right.
Can I take my book wherever I want to go? And the answer was yes. If you, if Steven Spielberg wants to turn your book into a movie, we'll be very happy for you, and we will put you in our newsletter as one of our success stories.
Yay.
So that was an issue for me. The other issue that I thought about was, what about copyright? Now, when I first wrote the book, I did the poor man's copyright. And that, a poor man's copyright is you take the manuscript,
Right.
you put it in an envelope, and you mail it to
You mail it
yourself.
to yourself.
And you cannot open it because
Right.
the postmark is your copyright date.
I think the updated version is you email it to yourself.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
of course, yes, of course. In those days, it was mail. Even the Copyright Office, I did copyright the first book, and you can copyright online for $30. It takes a little over a year for anything to come back to you, so you've forgotten that you even did it.
Right.
But I think copywriting is important. I think protecting your whatever you have is important. I was told that once you publish, it's copyrighted.
Right. Yeah. Technically, it's not necessary, but I find that a lot of authors, they have their nerves calmed if they've got the copyright.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. And then, of course, I've looked into some of the other companies, and of course, I've heard from other people how other companies work, and some companies will sell you an ISBN number.
Right.
They sell you the ISBN number, and then they go on to the various services that they offer, and everything is piecemeal. At iUniverse, it was a package. However, once you submitted your manuscript, it went to an editorial review.
What was it like working with an editorial staff?
Especially
One that was so far removed.
I found them to be very, very nice. Of course, you got everything through the email, and then you were able to call. You had a special person to call, and my special person was really nice. She was because I was always crazed over something. I tend to do that. So she was always calming my nerves and saying, no, it's all right, Linda. If it takes you another week, it's okay. And I kind of needed that. So the editorial review comes back to you, and I will show you the thickness of the editorial review. This is this is what they sent back to me.
Right.
And so that's really a lot of material.
Comprehensive.
Yes, it was very comprehensive, and I found it to be extraordinarily helpful because of the fact that I, as I have admitted before, did not start out as a writer. So I'm new to the writing field,
Right.
new to the publishing field,
Right.
new to the marketing field. And so any of the criticisms that they gave me, I found constructive. And then they offer services. I mean, you paid for your package, and you have to understand that these people are in the field everyone's in it to make money.
Right.
And I don't have a problem with that. That's their industry. And so they will offer you services such as copy editing, researching, ghostwriting, developmental editing, which is really writing your book for you. I mean, they basically will almost write the book for you. Proofreading, and everything's by the word. These services become very expensive. And so in the first book, I took line editing and proofreading. And because I just felt, this is my first manuscript, let me see what I can learn from it. And that cost me $1,500.
Really?
That was a lot of money. What did I know in those days? But it was okay because the book came out and I thought it was very nice. And what they did was they liked it so much they gave me Editor's Choice, which is the first level of their awards. So this book has Editor's Choice.
The Madonna Ghost?
The Madonna Ghost has Editor's Choice. And then if they give you Editor's Choice, they tell you, well, you can go to the next level, which is called Rising Star. And Rising Star, what you have to do for that is you have to write out how you're going to market the book. And if they think that you have an intelligent, well-thought-out marketing plan, they give you Rising Star. So I got Rising Star for the book. So
look at that.
I was really so thrilled. By the time the book was published, I had a swelled head, and it was like giving birth to a baby. I was, carried around with me everywhere.
It is.
I still do. I have, books in the car, etc. But that was, it was interesting. One of the things that I found useful, though, as I went along in this journey was that they gave me something called book returnability.
Which is?
And book returnability means that, you see, self-published books are called print-on-demand books. Print-on-demand means that suppose I had made an inroad into Barnes & Nobles, and they decided, yes, we're going to carry your book. Okay, so then they order 500 copies, from my mouth to God's ears. And so when they order the 500 copies are distributed to their various branches. If they don't sell, they want to be able to return them to the publisher.
Oh, yes.
Not all self-published books are returnable. So I got book returnability, and I was able to actually get into a couple of Barnes & Noble's branches, but not a lot of books. But I was told that that was very important.
And how does that happen? How did you get into those Barnes & Noble branches?
I had to go through something